Hello guys and girls, it's Tuesday the 4th of October. Let's sit down and game. Do, 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 do. Welcome! Now this week's a very special review edition of Sit Down and Game. Today we're going to be reviewing FIFA 17. Oh yeah. Anyway, now normally I'm joined by my co-hosts, but this week I am joined by my co-host, and to my right I have the magnificent, the amazing, the internet Buzz Stringer. Say hello, Buzz. Yeah, I know I don't shut up yet. And to my left, I have Markio 1988, the Mark Harrison, the one and only. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Say hi, Mark. Yeah. Okay. Cool. You two never shut up yet. Right. Anyway, let's get to the review. So, FIFA 17. I've been playing it on Xbox One. Big shout out to Gaming Colchester, who supplied me with a review copy. Fantastic people in Gaming Colchester. Go and check them out. Support your local store. Obviously, they have the same deals across the country, but they really give you sort of a really good customer service experience in there. I've known them for many years, and I was lucky enough to be given a copy to review for this particular show. So big shout out to them. Without them, I would have reviewed my own copy, but anyway, it's just nice to have been given something. So long may it continue. I'm sure they'll start implementing a scheme where I can borrow certain games so I can give you my impressions of these games. Anyway, to FIFA 17, here we go. Big release, huge release, my biggest release of the year. As you probably know on previous Sit Down and Game podcasts, I am a huge FIFA gamer, a huge football gamer in fact, and yeah, I was always going to buy it. I've bought it every single year since 2008. But before I give you my review, what gives me the right to review FIFA? Why should you listen to me? You're probably all wondering why should I take your opinion on a game? I've been gaming for about 25 years now. A long time, and I've bought every single football game you can probably name under the sun. I've owned every single console that you can think of, including the Atari Jaguar. Yeah, I know. I was the one of those three people that bought it. But I've been gaming since the days of Sensible Soccer, Ryan Giggs International Football. Wow, we were sport for choice. Kickoff. And then, of course, a huge game came along called International Superstar Soccer on the Super Nintendo. And that really started my love affair of football games. And since then, I dabbled with the occasional FIFA game, but I was always an International Superstar Soccer fan. And then they renamed it to Pro Evolution Soccer, made by Konami. And they were the pinnacle of football games. FIFA couldn't touch them at the time, and they were absolutely incredible. Just authenticity, simulation on the pitch. They were just by far the way ahead of everybody else for a football simulation. My best gaming memories are probably on PES 6 on the PlayStation 2. What a fantastic game that was. They butchered it when they HD remastered it for the Xbox 360, but that's another story. And probably since FIFA 08 was the first FIFA game I ever purchased. Pro Evolution Soccer was going for a bad stage. They weren't really the simulation football game anymore. They became a bit too easy. They probably rested on their laurels a bit, to be honest with you, thinking they were the daddy of the football industry. And EA came along. Well, I say came along. They've been around for years, but they really sort of blew it out of the park with FIFA 08. I think the last FIFA before that I bought was FIFA Road to World Cup 98, where they implemented indoor football, which was superb. It had David Beckham on the front cover as well, and that was on the N64. But since then, they didn't really do a lot until FIFA 08 came along, and PES 2008 was just diabolical. I mean, any game that's going to be fronted by Michael Owen on the front cover tells you what type of game it's going to be. Anyway, I got into FIFA 08, and since then I've bought a FIFA and a Pro every single year without fail. Not necessarily on release day for Pro, but always with FIFA. I bought it on release day, and I've never looked back. I've probably spent more hours playing these types of games than anything else. So I think I've got a good idea on what makes a good football game. Your opinions might differ from me, but let's see. So talking about FIFA 17, a lot for your money. Before I give you my review score, I'm going to go through some features on FIFA 17. So they've implemented a new mode, a fantastic new mode called the Journey. It's absolutely superb, and you get to play as a kid called Alex Hunter. And you start off as a small child in the playground, in the field. Looks like Sunday football, and your granddad's watching you. Scout watches you. You get scouted, and then you start going through the younger youth level football until you get signed by a club, and then literally you're just carrying on with that journey. And you'll get signed by bigger and better clubs. You'll go through bad times. You'll have good times. You'll get sponsorships. And it's just something that really needed to be done. And what I really, really like about it is it's sort of got RPG elements. You'll have the type of Mass Effect scroll wheel conversational piece where you can give a hot-headed remark. You can give a cool-headed remark. You can be balanced. So it's a bit like that Paragon Renegade factor that you got in Mass Effect. Not as in-depth as an RPG, as you can imagine from a football game, but certainly adds that little element to what you always used to be able to play on FIFA, which was career mode, which really became a bit stagnant. They hadn't done a lot of new things. And for me, being a competitive online multiplayer gamer, I wouldn't really waste my time playing career mode against the AI because I didn't feel like I was really gaining anything from it. And this is what the Journey has really, really encouraged me. It's really encouraged me to play a single player mode because it's my story. Although it's not my character, it's not my face. It's what I would hope to, or what I would have loved to have done as a footballer. And have those interviews, have those training sessions, progress your character, and then be signed for a huge, massive club, playing in front of thousands and thousands of fans. And that for me is superb. And I've probably invested about 10 hours in the Journey so far. Really loving it. Perfect really for FIFA to do that. Because one thing that Pro always had a mode called Master League. And of course, going back to PES 6 when online competitive multiplayer wasn't around, you only really had the option of playing one-player modes. But Master League was always something that I would invest 100, 200 hours in, where you'd manage your club, you'd sign youth players, you'd see those youth players become superb players, and then gradually you'd see them one by one retiring. And it was quite an emotional thing when you bought a player at 15 and then you see them retire at 36. They've reached their peak and they're gradually declining, and then they wave goodbye and they retire. It was quite an emotional thing because you picked them specially, they fitted in with your team, and they made your team. And Master League was always fantastic for that on PES, and FIFA's career mode was never really up to scratch with that. So I'm glad they've done the Journey, and I really think that's a great mode for a lot of people that don't waste their time online and just want to play one player football. Then jump into the Journey. Of course, you still have career mode. They've added a lot more features, things like billionaires taking over clubs, completely random what club they take over. But that's an element of surprise if it does happen to you. So that's a good mode. So in terms of one player, they with the exception of the Journey, you've got the same modes that you've always had in previous iterations of FIFA. Going to the online competitive mode, which is where I like to play. Of course, you've got pro clubs where you build your individual character. You progress them, you improve them, you play as that one person on the pitch, and you can drop in matches where you can have up to another 5 players playing, or you can create your own club. I've created a club with my own friends, and what they've added this year is they've added the facility to be able to create your own custom kit and custom badge, so you can identify and give yourself a brand online, which I think is absolutely superb because I've spent thousands of hours over the last 3 or 4 years playing pro clubs with my friends. So that's a great mode. That's still in there, and they've really improved on certain aspects of the game for pro clubs. AI in particular is superb now. They're much more sharp, responsive. When you call for a pass, they generally 9 times out of 10 play that correct pass. And if you're controlling the AI in terms of letting the computer control it, and you're just giving them commands, they defend much better. There's no real random collisions anymore, and the goalkeeping's been really improved. So if you're a big fan of pro clubs, you'll really love the options that they've added now into terms of the AI. Going from pro clubs, you've still got online seasons mode where you rank up through the online 10 divisions. This is for me. This was my bread and butter for a few years. I really played that to death. That's what I love to do. I love to play against other people, and that's still in there. And of course, the biggest, huge mode is the behemoth that is Ultimate Team. FIFA have made an absolute killer with this. They probably make billions of pounds of Ultimate Team, people buying online packs using their own money to buy FIFA coins. Well, essentially, you create your club from packs of cards, and you've got to build the perfect team with the correct chemistry. And of course, on Xbox One, they've added legendary players, which is incredible, because now I finally get to build a team with Paolo Maldini, Alessandro Nesta, and Del Piero. Yeah, I know. Paolo Maldini. Paolo Maldini is my favourite player of all time. I love playing with him in PES 6, and now they brought him as a legendary player. That to me is superb. I do need 6 million coins to be able to buy him. So if anyone's listening and they want to donate me 6 million coins, fantastic. I'll give you a huge thumbs up and a shout out in the next show. Otherwise, I'm going to have to save. I'm going to have to keep playing, keep plugging away, get those coins to buy my Paolo Maldini. Anyway, Ultimate Team's just as good as it ever was. You've still got the draft mode where you enter with a draft coin, and then you get to pick random formations. Basically, you get to pick between 5, and then you pick each individual player, and the computer will give you a choice of 5 players for each position, and it's your job to pick the best, most powerful team with the best chemistry with the picks that the computer generates for you. And then you go on to an online mode where you can again play against other players that are playing the online draft mode. And it's perfect really for people that can't afford those decent cards in regular Ultimate Team, because it does give you the option to play with those really fantastic players, and just to give you an essence and a sense, if you're lucky enough to get them in your draft, of how good they are, how well they play in that position, and whether or not it's worth you wasting your money or saving your money and spending the money to buy that particular player. So I would really highly recommend checking out draft mode on Ultimate Team, because it is fantastic. They've also added some FIFA Ultimate Team Champions Leagues and divisions and cups, which again, if you're a competitive multiplayer gamer, you absolutely love, because it is playing against the best of the best for the highest rewards. So that's Ultimate Team. Ultimate Team, better than ever. They've not really taken anything away. They've just added more. Now, getting back to the nitty-gritty of the gameplay of FIFA, because of course FIFA for years, people have purchased it because of the licenses. You know, they've always had an abundance of licensing. All the team names, all the player names, all the real kits, all the league names. They've always had it. PES never had it. PES was always about the on the field. It was all about the gameplay, and FIFA has gradually caught up, and now finally, in my opinion, they have finally overtaken PES for gameplay. You may have seen my previous review on the previous show about the review for PES 2017. It's in the comments below. So go check that out. I didn't give it a best glowing review. I gave it a 7.5, but you know, it's still a decent game. FIFA is now, in my opinion, the best football game I've ever played to this day. As I say, I've been gaming for 25 years. It is the best football simulation game I have ever played. Take away the fact, the amount of modes and content you get for your money, because it is vast. It is huge. It's a bit overwhelming. The gameplay is incredible. It's the only game of football I've ever played where I feel if I lose, it's because of my mistakes. The game does not force you to make mistakes. You can play it in numerous different ways. I like to play a responsive type of football where I like to guess what the opponent's going to be doing. I like to make the little interceptions, the last ditch slide tackles, that type of thing. And I don't feel limited in any way with FIFA 17. FIFA 16, there was always the odd moment where I felt that's a scripted moment. I was never going to tackle that player. I was never going to intercept that ball. I don't notice that with FIFA 17. What I will say is you can play it however you want. So, for instance, if you want to play that tiki-taka style of football, quick passing, build the play from the middle of the park, or you want to slow it down, you can slow it down. If you want to put your target man up front and you want to play direct long balls, you can play your target man. He will knock it down onto your quick, skillful attacking midfielders and play off of them. You really are not stifled in any way of how you want to play it, which is brilliant, because if you are playing online and you're playing against somebody who is just as good as you, if not better, and you're losing, and you realise, actually, for this 60 minutes, I've not really done what I was hoping to do, you can mix it up, change it up, put your target man on, play long balls, play direct, get the ball on the wings, cross the ball into the box, score those diving headers, score those power headers, whatever, however you want to play it. You can, and that for me makes a football game. Of course, they've still got the licensing, they've still got the abundance of teams, but they've really nailed it on the pitch, in my opinion. PES this year, I would say, graphically, facially, look better. And they generally have for the last couple of years, although with FIFA 17 this year, they have added the Ignite engine, and the players don't quite look puppet-like or doll-like. There is a little bit more depth in their facial tone and their body shapes, but everything else, in terms of the whole drama of football and the atmosphere that you get in a stadium with the crowd and the grass, and just how the linesmen react, how the referee reacts, and it's like it's really like watching a game of football, and that's realism on the pitch still looks the best. FIFA overall has it for me. So I'm going to give FIFA 17 a 9.5. As I say, it's the best value for money football game I've ever played in my life. It is the best on the field football game I have ever played in my life. It's out on Xbox One, it's out on PS4, it's out on PC as well. They've also released it on Xbox 360 and PS3. I can't give you an idea of how it plays on those consoles as I've not tried it. Check that out on Google, because sometimes game developers don't always make the best game on an old generation console. They may not have included the new engine, for instance the Ignite engine. So that's always something you might want to just double check before you make that purchase. Alternatively, there's some fantastic deals at the moment. You could buy an Xbox One S with an extra controller and FIFA 17 from Smith's UK toy store down to 279 currently at the moment. So it's a great way of getting involved and making the leap from old gen to new gen, and what a great game to start off with. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of enjoyment on there. And that's my review for FIFA 17. There's going to be a few more reviews like this, and this is just a small little segment. I couldn't make the last show with my other co-hosts Buzz and Mark, but we will be back next Friday, same place, same time. So if you did like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. If you disliked what you liked, there is a dislike button. You don't have to push it. By all means, push it if you don't like what you've heard today. Alternatively, give us a subscribe on YouTube to Sit Down and Game. Send your questions in, Sit Down Q, so that's hashtag Sit Down Q. I'm Vegan Gamer Guy on Twitch, so you can check me out there. I'm doing a lot of Twitch streams at the moment on FIFA 17, how to build the perfect ultimate team, who are the best cheap players to buy, parts of the journey mode. So if you want to check that out, check me out at Vegan Gamer Guy. Check out my other co-hosts' videos, Buzz Stringer. Check them out on YouTube. Brilliant for PC tips, VR problems. And check out Mark. Yeah, check out Mark. He's on Twitter, Markio1988. Hasn't had a question yet. We've had a few sit down and game podcasts now, about 7. He still hasn't had a question. Send him a question. He'll love to answer that on the next show. But that's me. I'm checking out. Thanks for watching. If you say send me any questions you want, and I'll happily answer. So stay tuned to sit down and game. All your gaming news, VR, everything else. If I've missed anything, send it to me. But yeah, game over. See you later.